All right, everybody, welcome back to the Horn Takes podcast. Your rough around the edges Texas sports talk destination. I'm your host, Sean Redfern. Happy Monday, everybody, especially to those folks that are fans of the Big 12 champion Texas Longhorns. Texas Longhorns are 2023 Big 12 champion, headed to the college football playoffs. Man, it's been a long time, y'all. It has been a long, long time. We did not get to go to the game in 2009. So our last Big 12 championship game in attendance was 2005. We also didn't go in 2018, obviously. So it's been 18 years since we've attended a Big 12 championship game. It's been 18 years since not 18 years. It's been 14 years since the Texas Longhorns won a Big 12 championship game. Feels good, man. Feels good. Congratulations to Steve Sarkisian. Congratulations to that team. Congratulations to the administration, the boosters, everybody that has anything to do with Texas Longhorn football being successful. Congratulations to you guys. It's been a team effort, I'm sure. It's been a blast as a fan. I'm probably like a minute, tiny, incy bitsy little piece of that. And I only say that because I have season tickets and I donate money. It probably buys like a pair of shoes, what I can give a year. But anyway, super happy for the Texas Longhorns. And man, I'm happy for myself. And I'm happy for all of you guys out there that are Texas Longhorn fans. It's Exaggeration Monday. We have not watched the replay of this game yet. So everything we're about to talk about today on Exaggeration Monday from a Texas Longhorn perspective is all Drunk Sean thoughts. And I wasn't like super drunk Sean at the game. Definitely not anywhere close to drunk Sean, like sitting on the patio at home by the fire drunk Sean. Before we get into that, we'll do our Trace Otra games recap from the championship weekend. And then we'll talk a little bit after that about our initial college football playoff thoughts. I was going to do a show yesterday, and I just decided, you know what? We had a hell of a long day on Saturday, flew out early in the morning to Dallas, flew home. I wouldn't say super late at night, but it was dark when we took off from Dallas to come back home. We had to get up at like 4:00 in the morning. So we had a long Saturday. So I just decided Sunday, we're just going to chill. So we'll do that today. Check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. I've been getting some momentum on Twitter, man. I copied this thing this guy did all the things to do. It was just like a no Longhorn should not have 1,000 subscribers type deal. Man, I've been getting hammered with follows. So I got a lot of following to do back. Check us out there on TikTok and YouTube as well. YouTube is where I would really like to grow this platform. That's at Horn Takes as well. If you just like to listen to podcasts, every single one of our episodes goes up on Buzzsprout at horntakespodcast.buzzsprout.com. So we do that every single time. I know I like to listen to podcasts. I'm watching a show right now about podcasts. It's crazy. All right, let's get into this Trace Otra games recap from the championship weekend. We got our ass kicked. We got our ass absolutely kicked this weekend. Let's talk about it. Pac-12 championship game. Man, Oregon was a huge favorite coming into this game. I thought going into the original matchup, Oregon was a better team than Washington. Washington's kind of been sputtering down the stretch. Just kind of, getting it done, right? But hanging on to get it done. Not a lot of what you would call, pass the eye test, impressive type wins. And I'm not judging that, by the way. I'm just saying that's how the end of Washington's season kind of went. And Oregon's just been killing everybody. Oregon has been doing that pass the eye test thing. So the huge line kind of surprised us, but we figured Oregon would be the favorite in that game. And we certainly picked that. We had Oregon winning this one 40-23. Man, Washington got it done 34-31. Just enough running game, I think, man. And kind of Washington's not a real good running team, but they ran the ball well against Oregon. And I think that might be the difference in the game. A slow start by Oregon offensively obviously didn't help. But congratulations to your Pac-12 champs, the Washington Huskies. 0-1 for us right off the bat on Friday night. Then we move on to the SEC championship game. Close line, -6, I think, for Georgia. Respect Alabama. Have always respected Alabama. But I just thought, man, this Georgia team, they're peaking at the right time. We've been talking about it, a couple of weeks in a row, really. They're starting to look really impressive. They kind of flew under the radar all season long. Nobody's talking a lot about Georgia. You're not seeing any just big time blowouts by Georgia. Probably like the most quiet third year of a three-peat opportunity you've ever seen in sports. I mean, just from the media, from everything. It's just quiet. You just didn't hear a lot about Georgia. But they started to win big at the end. And so I was thinking headed into this game, man, I think it'd be close. And we did think it would be really close. But we had Georgia making it 30 games in a row, winning another SEC championship, securing that #1 college football playoff spot with a 27-23 win over Bama. Bama came in and I didn't get to see all this game. We were leaving the stadium when this one started. Got it on the radio finally. Actually, I couldn't find it on the radio. I had to find it through my phone, which I should have done in the first place. Finally get the game going. We listened, most of that afternoon before we headed back over to the airport. And then I got to watch it in an airport bar, sort of the end of it. So I don't know a lot about the details of this game at this point. But what I understand and what I listened to and what I saw is Bama just really controlled this one. Although the game was close, the score was close. Bama really controlled this game for 4 quarters. Bama gets it done, 27-24 over Georgia. 0-2. ACC championship game. Man, Florida State just limping in. Third string quarterback. That's never good. I mean, that's been good one time in the history of football. Worked out for Ohio State. Normally, it is not good. And it certainly has not been good for Florida State. We thought Louisville had a really good shot to win this game because Louisville's rushing defense was so good. Their rushing offense was good. We thought if you can do those two things against a team that really probably isn't going to pass the ball and really can't pass the ball, you got a really good shot. So we had Louisville 27-17 over Florida State. Certainly was a low-scoring defensive game, but Florida State pulls it out 16-6. Crazy. And I was really impressed with the defense, the Florida State defense. I didn't get to watch all of this one either. We were in the air for the first half, most of the first half. Got to see at least some part of the second half. Got to see Louisville blow a lot of chances to score touchdowns, what I got to see. Credit that Florida State defense, though. So through 3 championship games, besides our own, we're 0-3. Terrible. And we have never had a Trace Otra game weekend where we didn't get a win. So that was all on the line headed into the Big Ten championship game, which we so lovingly labeled as the boring bowl or something like that, I think, on Thursday, whatever day it was. I don't know if there's much to say about this one. Iowa cannot score at all. We thought they might score a little bit. We thought they might get the ball down the field. Like the defense would give them some short fields, which they probably did. I didn't watch hardly a second of this game. We thought they'd get some short fields, maybe get some field goals out of that. We had Michigan winning this one 30-9. They end up shutting out Iowa 26-0. So just and I haven't looked at the stats in this one, but I heard somebody say something about like Michigan almost had no offensive stats in this game. So I don't know exactly what happened. Anyway, we get that one right. So we go 1-3 on championship weekend, which that's our worst weekend probably ever. We go 1-3. We've gone 1-2 before, which is 33%. 1-3, 25%. So yeah, probably our worst weekend rather ever on Trace Otra games. We end up 28-15 on the season, which is pretty good, especially given our slow start. So we'll just have to be happy. We'll have to regroup. Hopefully we can come back during bowl season and get some wins, man. I think Army Navy is this weekend. I'll probably have a pick on that one. For those of you that don't know, I spent little over 4 years in the United States Army, so that's about the only game that I care to watch Army play, and that's just because I don't even think I can find Army on TV anywhere. So we'll be rooting for Army this weekend. I believe it's this weekend. If it's not, then it's obviously next weekend, which it very well may be. It's always on like a weird weekend, but I can't remember if it's the weekend right after all the championship games or like, a month later or something. We'll find out. We'll find out. By the way, this is a short week for us. It's my wife's birthday month, whatever you call it. And we'll be out of town. We go out of town every single year this weekend to just get away, enjoy each other. So we're going to go do that this weekend. So short week for us. There will be no show past. We may only have 2 shows this week. So we're going to have to find out on that Army Navy thing pretty quick. Exaggeration Monday. Man, just initial thoughts on this game. Just an absolute blast. We had a great time. Tons of Texas fans. I would say, I don't know about percentages. It's tough to do percentages. And there's obviously all orange in the building because it was Oklahoma State and Texas. Although Oklahoma State has that pukey, like Halloween looking orange. It's not cool. But I would say probably 70%, 75% Texas fans, which makes sense. Texas has a huge fan base right there in Dallas. Tons of Texas fans in the DFW plex. So yeah, man, lots of Longhorn fans. Not quite as rowdy of a crowd, just generally, as you would see maybe at a Texas home game, and certainly at the Cotton Bowl during Red River Shootout. But the crowd wasn't bad. Really good time. The only thing that was not good about the trip was just how expensive everything is in Jerry World, which we've gone there for Cowboy games. So we knew. But golly. Whoo. Can't get out of there cheap. Let's talk about the offense. We'll just do some thoughts on this offense, some drunk Sean thoughts. I thought the pass protection was amazing. And keep in mind, folks, on Exaggeration Monday, it's all drunk Sean thoughts. I haven't rewatched the game, so I don't know what really happened. So what we will do tomorrow is we'll talk about what I got right, what drunk Sean got right, what drunk Sean got wrong. I felt like watching the game, the pass protection was really good. I only remember there being pressure a couple of times on Quinn Ewers, and I only think he got sacked once. And I think if you can do that consistently, that's pretty good. One of our 4 big questions of the game heading into this one was, could the Texas running game continue to produce some big numbers on the ground without their number 1 guy, Jonathan Brooks? I don't know what the yardage was, but they certainly were able to run the ball. Jaden Blue had a nice run or 2. Cedric Baxter had a couple, plus 10-yard type runs. Keelan Robinson busted a long one, then had another one down on the goal line for a touchdown. I felt like in the second half, Texas was just able to kind of, they didn't crack off any massively long, not multiple long runs. They didn't just absolutely ram it down Oklahoma State's throat, but I felt like they handled their business. They were able to be consistent enough in the second half to sort of hold on to the ball, speed up the game, and I'm pretty sure they ended it kneeling it out. So yeah, they did. So yeah, I mean, I think running the football they did well. We'll check out the yardage. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But I feel like it was probably close to like a 200-yard game on the ground for the running game. We'll see. I thought Ewers Ewers had a Jekyll and Hyde type of game. There were some passes, and overall, really good game for Ewers. Everything I'm about to say is just total nitpick, but I gotta feel like Quinn Ewers would be like damn near completing like 90% of his passes if he could just hit a long ball consistently. I mean, he can hit them, but if he could hit them consistently, man, he missed on at least 2. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? But I'll say this, man, Quinn Ewers, short, intermediate, man, he is pretty much money. He throws some really nice balls, under 20, 25 yards. They're just really, really good and accurate, pretty balls. But again, he did miss. I mean, he missed Mitchell. Pretty sure he missed Worthy. And they were touchdowns. I mean, those guys had guys beat. He was able to hit Mitchell on a really long one earlier in the game. The pick by Ewers was really, really rough. I'm not exactly sure what happened on that play. I think he was trying to throw like a crossing pattern or something like that. And it looked like, I mean, just based on who caught it, where they caught it, it was almost like he just never even saw that guy. And or either that or maybe thought the crossing pattern was clear of all that mess in the middle. That's the danger of kind of throwing it across the middle. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of shit going on right in front of you, a lot of stuff coming from multiple directions. People can be places you didn't see them before. It's kind of a mess. So I don't know if he just got a little antsy and maybe threw that one a little sooner than he wanted to. Maybe there was some pressure that caused him to throw it a little sooner than he wanted to, but it looked like from our vantage point, he basically just threw the ball right to that guy. Like it was like a perfect pass to the wrong guy. But again, I thought overall Ewers did really well. And guys, the supporting cast on offense, the guys catching the football, really good game. I mean, they just made plays. There was a play, I don't even know when it was in the game. I felt like it was kind of a crucial type situation, maybe a 3rd and long. And JT Sanders, just his hands are just absolutely amazing. It looked like a little seam route, maybe a post, like a tight end post type deal. He was covered up, but it was a very good pass and an even better catch. So those guys, man, the offense was clicking, and that shit was beautiful to watch. I feel like Sark's script, which I think all these guys do scripts now. They start games with certain plays. I don't think you could have done it any better than he did. Every single thing Texas did for the first 4 drives just worked. And probably we don't get that hold and bring back that long 3rd down conversion and don't end up throwing that interception. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas took it down the field and scored a touchdown on their 5th straight drive. That's just how good it was going. So kudos to the offense. Kudos to Steve Sarkisian. Kudos to that offensive line for being able to run the ball, pass protect. Big time game for that Texas offense. This is the Texas offense I love to watch. The one that just comes out, just looks like they know what they're doing. There's no struggle to it. You just see the talent. You see what these Texas fans, what we've all been talking about all summer long, all since spring, even into the season. Like, what's going on? Why are we not scoring 40, 50 points a game? That's what we saw this Saturday. We've seen it 2 weeks in a row, really. Just complete domination. Defensively, we had a question on the 4 big questions of the game. Can Texas slow down the nation's leading rusher, Ollie Gordon? Yeah, they did. I don't know what his stats were. He didn't have a lot. He was super frustrated. Yeah, I don't know what words were said down on the field. Obviously, looked like Texas defenders were giving him the business a lot. I think he probably asked for it a lot, though. I mean, he probably had a good run at some point, ran his mouth, and then that was probably the only good run he had all night. I don't know what he had. I saw a tweet that he only had 30 yards, 34 yards, something like that. But again, I haven't rewatched, and I have not checked a single stat on this game. But again, the Texas run defense does it again. This is an absolute legit run defense. Like 100%. Like I mean, they've been doing it all season. They're tough. They are tough up front. You know, you kind of as a Texas fan, you kind of go, man, at some point the dam's going to break, right? Because teams try to run it on them. It just doesn't. It just never does. And it doesn't matter who's playing. They just rotate guys in and out, and you still can't run on them. We had another question on the 4 big questions of the game. Can Texas find a way to get Alan Bowman on the ground with the ball in his hands? Oklahoma State came into this game, I think, only having given up 12 sacks all season, which is really good. And after watching them play, I know why. I mean, they get rid of the ball so quickly. So much of their game is literally pre-snap read. These guys are not taking a lot of time to think about what happens after the ball snapped. It's really survey the field. I'm going here to this dude. Maybe one quick, post snap read, and then the ball's out. He probably held onto the ball on 90% of his passes less than 2 seconds. They did get some pressure on him, though. I mean, they affected him. They affected some throws. They especially early on, they got him, rolling out of the pocket and throwing the ball away. So really the only time Alan Bowman had any success in the Oklahoma State offense passing the ball, had any success, was really, later in the game when they started playing a little softer coverage. I thought the press coverage was really, really good in this game. A lot of contested catches. Even when they made plays, it was a tough play. And I think that's all you can expect out of a defensive back. Be there, make the play tough. You just don't want to see these wide ass open plays. And Texas did a really good job of that not happening in this game. So what Oklahoma State was able to get through the air, for the most part, they certainly earned. We did go into this crazy zone stuff at the end of the game, and I just cringe. I absolutely cringe every time I see us go into this. It's too easy. It is too easy. I get it. It's the end of the game. You're just trying to, keep them in front of you. I still hate it. I don't know. It works. I guess it works sometimes. So anyway, kudos to the defense. Another really good performance. They got stuck with a short field one time. I don't know. I feel like Oklahoma State was 3 for 3 probably in the red zone with 3 touchdowns, which is something a lot of teams don't do to Texas. So, kind of a mixed bag on defense, but certainly really, really good performance. Definitely good enough to win. So congratulations to those guys on the defense. We'll talk a little bit more about statistics and the players that popped and all that good shit tomorrow. Special teams, I still hate the short kickoffs, and I got to think the kid just can't. Something's wrong. Like, he cannot just kick it. I don't like it. If this is a scheme, please, for the love of God, stop doing it. It didn't really hurt us in this one. I just don't understand why you want to subject your players to the hits. The physical nature of special teams, where you got one side that's just running down the field full blast and just smacking into another human being that's big and strong. Just the collision, I don't understand it. For maybe 2 or 3 yards. It's just not worth it. I hate it. I don't know what else to say about it. Bert Auburn finally misses. That was rough, man. 52-21 would have been a hell of a lot nicer. Ultimately, just kind of feel bad for him. He had a really good streak going. I don't know what happened on the kick. I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you. Like, if you just walked up to me after the game and said, "Hey, did Bert Auburn make that kick?" I have no idea. I mean, I would say no, he didn't, because they didn't post the points, but I have no idea what the kick looked like. I don't know if it was short, left, right. I don't know. Williams targeting penalty on special teams. Derek Williams Jr. Gets called for targeting in the second half on a Oklahoma State kickoff. I think they misapplied the rule, man. Their helmets hit, but he did not lead with his helmet. He did not attempt to lower his helmet. He did not, like, any of the things I think that make a targeting penalty. I didn't see any of that on the replay at the game. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see the actual TV broadcast tonight and just see what that was all about. Because I thought that I couldn't believe they called it a crackback block or whatever. And then when they reviewed it, they said it was targeting. I was like, holy crap. So I don't know. Ultimately, it was completely unnecessary because it was a touchback. That's the bitch of the whole thing. He made a block, and whether it was an illegal block or whether it was a targeting or not, you can probably debate, but it didn't even need to happen. It was a touchback. Final drunk Sean thoughts of the game. Man, one of our other big questions of the game was, can Steve Sarkisian break the Gundy curse? Hey, Steve Sarkisian, Garkasian, whatever Brett Yormark called him at the end of that game. He's 0-2 headed into this one against Gundy, and had some rough losses, to be perfectly honest. I thought he did, I thought he had did a great job to have the team ready. What can you say? And again, that script to start the game offensively, I just feel like, it was almost like he was just listening to what the Oklahoma State coaches were calling. Yeah, it was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. So he absolutely broke that curse. Congratulations, Steve Sarkisian. Congratulations, Texas Longhorns, for being 7-0 on the Big 12 Fuck You Tour. They got to play every single member of the Hateful Eight except West Virginia. And I'm not even sure West Virginia is part of the Hateful Eight. I barely even know if they're in the Big 12 anymore. Like, West Virginia is so far away from every other Big 12 school. I don't even think they had time to hate Texas. They weren't in the conference that long with Texas. Yeah, I don't really consider them part of the Hateful Eight. Maybe I just haven't seen it. I think West Virginia is just kind of like happy to be there. We've been talking about being the storm, continuing to be the storm, stormy, this, that, all season long. And I think Texas did it in this game, man. We talked about like being the chaos. If there's going to be chaos, you go be that. Don't let the other team do that stuff to you. The defense was obviously great. The offense, the defense was great the entire game. Like I said, a couple of long penalty type plays. Short field another time where they gave up a touchdown. Just Oklahoma State just did not get a lot of stuff going offensively in this game. The offense in the second half, Obviously not as explosive as it was in the first half, but it was efficient. I mean, they just kept moving the ball. They were able to put up 2 scores. So I think you look at this game, and that's like what I was talking about all these times I've talked about. Go be the Storm. They just dictated every single second of that game, offensively and defensively. Thought it was a really, really awesome gesture and a great moment for Jonathan Brooks to get to go out on the field, take that last snap. I know that meant a hell of a lot to him. It looked like it meant a whole hell of a lot to his teammates. So I don't know. I mean, I'm generally like an okay, thoughtful person, I think. Maybe not. I certainly try to be, but I don't know that I would have thought of that in the moment. And that's really cool. That whoever thought of that, I assume it was Coach Sark or Coach Choi. I have no idea. Really cool moment though for him. Hope we get to see Jonathan Brooks come in and do a last play, kneel down play, victory formation play again, at least once this year. Hope we see it twice. I thought it was a really cool moment for T'Vondre Sweat to catch that touchdown pass, hit his Heisman pose. Gotta love that kid, man. Really cool for him and Byron Murphy. They both got to catch touchdown pass this season, kind of in the same look. And man, they were cutting up. The Texas Longhorns were cutting up hard on the sideline when T'Vondre Sweat finally gets off the field on that one. But yeah, man, that's what I like so much about Steve Sarkisian is you can tell a few things about him. And one of them is he likes to let these guys have fun. And he likes to have fun with these guys while they're having fun. And I think that's really important. You know, it is a big business and there is a lot of pressure involved. And I think it's really easy for fans, for the media, just sort of people that aren't in that room constantly to just forget that, you know, these are kids. A lot of them are kids. And they're all certainly, you know, very young men. They're still at that age where like you can still have fun. You know, you can tell the difference between a grown ass man and like a really young man. It's just different. It's like a different mindset. So I think that's awesome that in the biggest game of their season this year, they're out there having fun. Something that kind of caught my eye during the game was the turf monster. And man, Texas and wide receivers in particular have been turf monstered all season long. We trip over our feet in the grass more than any team I think I've ever seen. Whittington had a slip. Mitchell fell down on that long catch. I don't know if he would have scored. But you certainly ain't going to score if you trip over the turf. And man, I don't know what it is. It's been happening all season. I mentioned it earlier this year on the show. It popped up in this game, and it just reminded me, like, my God, pick up your feet. Random thought, I guess, there. Finally, this SEC chant business shit, I hate it. And I know I'm probably going to piss off like a whole lot of Texas fans. I don't really care. I am in no way a Brett Yormark apologist. That dude is a moron for saying what he said. We called him out on this show. What he did was unprofessional. I'm okay with giving him the business the way Texas fans gave him the business while he was trying to give Sark the trophy. I just thought the SEC chant was kind of childish. I thought it was childish in Austin. I hate that chant. That chant is for like bottom feeders in the SEC that have nothing to do. They can't win on their own. So they coattail the successful programs and act like they're in the baddest conference ever. You know, they're basically like, if you're a fan of a conference, like that doesn't resonate with me. I don't care. I don't want that. That's not Texas, folks. It's not Texas. We are arrogant assholes, and we're arrogant assholes from what we do, not by what somebody else does, okay? That's it. Let's stop with the SEC chant. I get it. I understand it. I mean, I think it was topical. We'll see what happens. I just don't want it to become a thing. I don't want us to be playing up in the big house next year against Michigan. And if somehow we figure out a way to pull out a win up there against Michigan, I don't want to hear a bunch of SEC fucking chants. Let's not do that. Again, congratulations to Steve Sarkisian. Congratulations to all those Texas Longhorns. It's been a really great season. 12-1. Go on the road, beat Alabama. That was amazing. Absolute ass kicking of Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game. That is amazing. College football playoff, man. Good season so far. Let's keep it going, baby. Let's keep playing. College football selection thoughts. So the playoff stuff came out yesterday. My prediction for the playoffs heading into the weekend was in no particular order, just the teams. Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Texas. Obviously, Oregon would have been a lock if they'd have won. Michigan a lock if they win. Georgia a lock if they won. And then I just thought, and I also thought Florida State was going to lose. So if you look at our predictions and then look at who we had in the playoff, it makes sense why I chose what I chose. Obviously, the 4 teams: Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Bama. Got to be honest, watching Bama beat Georgia, I thought Texas was done. I just felt like the committee was going to start pulling this whole, you can't tell me Georgia's not one of the best teams, the 4 best teams. You can't tell me that you can't leave the 2-time defending national champions out. You just can't. I had all this stuff going on through my mind. Call it like college football playoff selection committee PTSD from watching those guys have those same arguments with one-loss non-conference champion teams. It's not unprecedented what I was thinking. And I bet you, I don't know that if Texas barely wins that game against Oklahoma State, that we don't hear a lot of that. I don't know if it was 2008, like AP and coaches poll PTSD, where I just like Texas is going to get fucked here. But that's how I felt. I thought the fact that the game was close, 27-24, was just more fuel for that type of discussion. And so really, I went to bed Saturday night just hopeful, but kind of like, yeah, we're fucked. And then I woke up Saturday, and I we got some coffee going, got the some kind of pre-selection game, selection show on something. I don't know what it was called. College Football Drive or something. And everybody's making it seem like Texas is a lock. And then I was like, for real? And we heard almost no, and really did hear no Georgia conversation at all. And the only conversation we did hear was about what Bama did to Georgia. So I apologize to Joe Klatt. I kind of called him out after his comment about, Texas should be Bama fans, because if Bama beats Georgia, he said pull Texas into the playoff. I think what it actually did, combined with Texas's really impressive win, was push them further into the playoff. We'll never know what the committee would have done between Florida State and Texas. I feel like the committee was just not going to let Florida State in. So anyway, Joel Klatt, if you're listening, surely you are. I apologize, man. You were on as much as you were off on that one. We'll never know what happens if a lot of these other things don't happen, but at the very least, you backdoored into a correct assumption, and I was wrong for calling you out. My bad, man. Let's talk about deserves versus the best teams. Like, there's a lot of people upset. The bottom line here is, I would not have wanted to be on this committee. This was one of the weirdest years the college football committee has ever had to deal with. Lots of good teams. Usually there's like 3 of them for sure that are like clear cut. There's like absolutely no debate about it because they're undefeated conference champs. And then really, when you start looking at the 1-loss teams, there's really not that many of them either, generally. So it's usually pretty easy on the committee. This year was not. And so they had to make some really tough decisions. And no matter what decision they made, a really good team was getting left out, or multiple really good teams were getting left out. And there's always this discussion about, teams deserve to be there versus we just need to try to get the best 4 teams in. And I don't think you can look at it that black and white. I feel like it's both. Like, you got to look at who deserves to be there. But also, part of that is being one of the best teams. This whole idea that we can say this team is unequivocally better than that team when they haven't played each other. And that's kind of your metric. You say, you can't tell me if they played on a neutral field that this team wouldn't win. I think when you start doing that, man, it's tough. I can understand it. I could even go, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, I think if Bama and Florida State played on a neutral field, Bama would absolutely wax their ass. I think if Georgia and Florida State played on a neutral field, which they're going to, I think if Georgia shows up at all and half their team doesn't sit out, they're going to destroy Florida State. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. However, Florida State was an undefeated Power 5 conference champion. And man, I hate it for them. I really do. I absolutely hate it for that team. I don't know, man. And the other thing I think is 2 things can be true at the same time. If the only goal of the committee was to get the best 4 teams in, I think they probably did that. But even then, I think Georgia has an argument. Georgia, I think, would beat Michigan. I think Georgia would probably beat Washington State, or Washington, rather. They couldn't beat Bama. I don't know who would be favored between Georgia and Texas if they played. I would like Texas's chances against Georgia. So I don't know. The whole thing's a mess. I feel bad for Florida State. It's too bad that we didn't get this 12-game playoff thing taken care of sooner than we actually did. Sucks for Florida State. Feel bad for those kids, obviously. We said it was a short week. We'll have one more show this week. We'll do the after action review on the Big 12 title game tomorrow, 12 noon. We'll find out if Drunk Sean was wrong or right. Excuse me. We'll talk about this transfer portal, man. It's out of control already. Nuts what's going on with the transfer portal today. Check out the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Horn Takes. Follow and subscribe will not cost you guys a thing. I appreciate the support. And you might find out you actually like what I have to say. I don't know. Email me at horntakespodcast@gmail.com with all your questions, comments, concerns, and criticisms. I love them all. Congrats, Big 12 champions. Hook 'em horns. You guys get hooked. Have a good rest of your week.